Hello, hello to all the wonderful people as you are. Sorry for yet another video. I was just sitting there thinking that it's already mid-year, the equator of this year, so to speak. So this is a wonderful time to reflect, to look at how the year is going. So in this video, I will run through all the books I've read so far this year, from the worst, in my opinion, to the best. Also, in my opinion, I ranked them based on some internal esoteric feelings. It's not something objective. I didn't even check the ratings I gave them. I gave to all the books so far. I went with something like, this is how I feel it right now. So this is kind of the vibe of this video. And let's go. Shall we? Last place, unfortunately, is All Fours by Miranda July. Well, I kinda expected more from this book because I like reading weird stuff. Let's start with that. And this book is literally fiction about the woman who explores herself and her relationship to other people and to herself and to family, to other women, all of that, everything through the lens of aging and menopause. And all of that sounds like something really worthy of discussing, of writing, and of reading. But the way it's done here in this book, no, this book is full of pretty gross moments. And I'm not squeamish. I can't read everything. I'm capable of reading almost everything. But all the things like that should serve a purpose, like any other scene in any other book. And some of them did it well. There are a lot of contextually pretty well done scenes, which are also gross. But I'm not complaining about them. They are suit the topic, shows something and all of that. But also there are a lot of other that, in my opinion, should not be here at all. And also, in my opinion, they were added to the book just to try to make it more intellectual, more serious, more adult. But it's not how it's supposed to work. So yeah, I think that's let's say this video. I have a video where I talk about this in more detail. So if you want to just check it out. And actually I have videos on almost every book I will mention today. So just don't forget to check the description for all of them if you want to learn more. And that's it for this book. The next goes Silver Nitrate by Silvia and Moreno-Garcia. I also talk about the book, I think in the same video as All Fours. And I also had quite high hopes of this book before them. And to be honest, I'm not even remember very much of what it promised to be. I think it was something about mystic cults, cursed unfinished film, and some murders and mystery and all of that. But in reality, as I remember it, it was just super boring. That's all. And it felt, I remember that I made this comparison already, but it felt like watching a very weird conspiracy video on YouTube than reading the fiction where you will kind of believe in something that's happening. Something like that. There was also the romance subplot, which I'm not even sure why is inside of this book. It was very far-fetched, very weird, and don't know, I'm not sure. I liked to learn a lot of niche facts about filmmaking and film history, but I already forgotten all of them. which is sad, but that's how my brain works, so yes. I did not like it, unfortunately. Next goes Midwinter Murder by Agatha Christie. This is a collection of short stories set in winter about, but actually not only murders. There are murders, there are other investigations, other crimes, and I think that was the book I started my year with, which makes sense because it was winter. Well, when I just finished the book, I had mostly positive reactions to this. Now I'm more neutral. These stories were not all amazing, they varied. But the biggest problem here is mostly because they are short stories. Most of them have faded away from my memory by now. Which is also very sad. And that's the only reason why this book is so low, because I do not remember a thing. And it's been only half a year. Yeah, very sad. But actually, if you like short stories, you can save these for the winter season. I think it worked very well in the context for me. I was very pleased when I read the book, finished the book. So yeah, maybe. Okay, next goes first thing. Rebecca Yarros. I've read the book quite recently, so in comparison to the previous one, I remember it quite well. And as you may say from the placement, I did not really enjoy it. I was not very impressed by it. But to be honest, we're already in more like middle of the road section, like mediocre books, not the bad ones, but still not very impressive. I will not say it's much because I have the full video on my channel, just the previous one. You can check it, where I complain a lot. I say a lot of things about this book in particular. So if you want more information, just check it out. The only thing I liked in this book was the romance, our main characters and the chemistry between them. That worked good. Everything else was no, just no. First of all, the pacing was strange. It was so boring at times, so I almost DNF'd it at some point. Also, the world building is shallow and unexplained, like at all. I constantly could not understand what's happening, where are we, what's around. Very strange. And the side characters are all plain. They have no personalities. I didn't care about them at all. That is not good. I prefer books when it's not like that. Next goes the Foucault's Pendulum by Umberto, and I forgot to take it. It's here, but I read it in Russian anyway. And I think I haven't talked about this book anywhere on my channel, and I think at this point I won't, except here. But to be honest, I just think that I'm a little bit too dumb for this book. I don't know. I don't know what happened or why, but it just didn't hit me the way the Name of the Rose did, because that experience was brilliant. I liked it so much. I watched all the adaptations, like screenplays, I could find. And that never happens. Because I barely watch any films or shows at all. So that signifies a lot. So yeah, that book was brilliant and accessible. I highly recommend it. Couldn't say that about Pendulum, because that was not an easy read. I got that Echo is criticizing and making fun of conspiracies and all this mystical nonsense, And some of the characters or mental gymnastics that they do is really fun to follow, but I still found it boring at times. And also, what I'm thinking right now is I run some experiment with this book, and this video you can find on my channel. I also will put it into description, so that might influence my impressions of the book and my understanding of the book also, but I'm not sure. So yeah, I couldn't say that I gave up on Echo, no. I will take another of the book because, as I said, Name of the Rose was brilliant. And I hope you'll enjoy it more. Okay, next book is Bastardized Knight's Hellspawns. And I didn't have the author name in my notes, unfortunately. Oh, that's so sad. I'll put it somewhere here because I read it in ebook format. But this is the comic. I read only one volume because only one volume is available, and this is a very interesting thing because this is an indie author and so independently published book, a comic, and I found it somewhere on Reddit. I think there was a post where indie authors kind of advertised their works, their recent books, and I just stumbled upon this one and it caught my eye for some reason. Unfortunately, the volume was so short that I didn't even get what happened there. This is so sad. Also, I think the author is not a native English speaker. Maybe that influenced too. I don't know. And I can't tell you the plot because I don't really know the plot because of all of that. But what I loved, and I really loved, is art style, all the drawings. That was actually another reason why I picked it up. So yeah, as I said, there are only one volume available. If, or let's say when, the second will be available, I think I might buy it too, if I will not forget about this short story. So yeah, because I just want to understand what's going on. Okay, next goes the Summer Hikaru Dance. I read 2 volumes this year, and this is another very weird comic, full of mysteries, but this time intentional mysteries. At least I hope. It's about a boy whose body was possessed by a mysterious entity just before his death, or just after his death, somewhere, or maybe in the moment of his death, I don't know. But his body was possessed by this entity, and this entity trying to live the normal life as this boy, pretending to be this boy. And the book is about relationship between this boy with entity inside, is about this entity in body of the boy and his best friend, who knows that he's possessed. He's not his former friend, and that his real friend is dead. That's what it's about. That is definitely horror. There are a lot of very chilling scenes. Sometimes I got the Stranger Thing vibe at some points because there are this mysterious forest, school kids, some weird entities. All of that gave me that kind of vibe, but in Japan, in Japan, I think some romance is brewing somewhere between them, which is, I kind of anticipate that. Although this guy is technically not a human being, so that is a weird romance, but I like weird stuff. I've already bought volume 3. I'm planning on buying volume 4, and I think that's all that's available right now, but don't quote me on that. Anyway, I really liked it, and I will continue reading. Okay, next goes Red, White and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. Sorry. Oh well, the love story between the son of US President and the Prince of England. Crazy, right? I liked this book overall. It is sweet, it is kind, the characters are cute, well, most of them, and all of that, but everything that I mentioned is also a downside for me. I know it sounds strange, but this book is so sweet, it's too sweet for me. But overall, it is like it's a romance between these two guys with a happy ending. Obviously, just look at the cover, all these colors. It should have a happy ending, right? And it gets you what you expect from it. I just did not expect it to be so sugary. That's all. Alright, next goes Heartstopper volumes 1 and 2. So you see, I read a lot of comics this year. Another love story between two boys, but this time set in a school. Well, it's a gentle, wholesome, coming of age story about love and accepting others and communicating with others and all of that. Wonderful, pretty story. Don't know what to say else. If you think that the previous book, Red, White and Royal Blue, has too much words on the page, maybe pick up this option with almost no words on the page. That's it. Liked it. The Housemaid by Freida McFadden. Ooh, thriller. I hadn't read these thrillers like that for a very long time, I think. So that was very refreshing reading for me. I like the plot, the mystery itself, and how it's unraveled. I will not spoiler anything, obviously, but just some gist. Our main character, she got a job as a maid in a family who behaves oddly. But not in a, supernatural way oddly, just a real life unpleasant kind of way. Anyone could be in that situation, but not exactly this situation, but in a company like that, and it wouldn't be fun. But naturally, as you understand, all this situation escalates, and all the peculiarity of this family has some reasons. Our main character has her secrets. She just got out of prison, so she's not so simple and naive. And that's all I would say. That was interesting. Only thing I didn't like was the writing style. It was too simple, too straightforward. I would say it kinda suited our main character, so it was not so bad and so out of place. That's just my personal preference. I like reading more richer language with more, metaphors. But I still had a fun time with the book. Okay, here is our final comic of the day. Oh no, no, I liked it. Forget it, doesn't matter. I adore everything related to fans. I also read those two kind of fan fiction books, but also officially published books about all these characters that I still don't know what it is, but I read it. I think that tells a lot about my obsession with that story. And I'm just simply amazed someone managed to make fencing not a very exciting sport so fun to follow. I'm impressed. But since I read only very small volume this time, because that's the only thing that came out, unfortunately, I cannot rank it, I cannot compare it to the full-length stories I also read, and they were wonderfully, you will see them later in this video. That book was just another advancement to the story. Yes, it was super fun. Yes, it was super charming with wonderful pictures, but it was so tiny, so only here. The Spy Family But by Tatsuya Endo. Okay, this is the final comic for today. Yes. And basically the same thoughts that I already mentioned in the previous one. I adored it. It was wonderfully written. That was super fun. But since I read only one volume, I don't have a full picture in mind. I cannot compare it plot-wise on anything. But yeah, but I am in love with the story. I already bought more volumes and I will probably watch an anime. I'm intended to do that. Okay, plot-wise, we've got this adorable family with a spider, assassin mom, and telepath daughter, and all of them tries to pursue their own goals without revealing themselves to the others, to the society, to the world, and also to each other. Sounds wild, and it is. It's also super fun. The next goes House of Earth and Blood by Sarah Maas. I can't believe the book ended up so far, but it honestly left quite a good impression on me after finishing it. First of all, I liked the setting. I also learned recently from TikToks that all of her books, or at least most of her books, or most of her series, take place in the same universe. And people recommend reading this series the last. Well, that is not happening. That is definitely not happening. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna read other series ever. There are just too many books for me. No. Sorry. But it was also perfectly fine reading this one on its own without any other books. I don't know, maybe later books will be confusing, but I'm not even sure I'll continue the series. So whatever. But back to setting. I'm not a big fan of fantasy worlds, especially very made up, especially in medieval style with lots of magic creatures and created species. It's the same with classics, like, okay, Game of Thrones. Cool, yes, it is made up world. It isn't past, but it looks like our worlds. Yes, there are dragons and some bits of magic here and there, but not too much, and the main characters are mostly just people, and that is cool. That is perfect. That works for me. I liked it. I'm a huge fan of Game of Thrones. Lord of the Rings, those are great books, just not for me. It's too much magical, too much unfamiliar, forests, elves, hobbits, not my thing. So this is a made-up world, obviously, but it very resembles our modern Earth with cars and smartphones and all of that. It's full of shapeshifters and all of that, but still feels balanced for me to enjoy it. So I really liked the setting. I also like the plot, because the main line that goes through the plot is a mystery. It's kind of a detective mystery, because there are all these murders and attacks, and our protagonists have to investigate, and they do that. And it's well done, in my opinion. I also like the characters. There are a lot of them. It's obviously just look at the size of the book. But they are all very different, well developed. I care about them. They have distinct voices, all of that. Even the side ones. Yes, first thing. I also like the romance between our main characters, because they start from just working together, then the ice melts and become friends, they fall in love, very adorable and nice, and I liked it. That's it. Now let's go Abroad in Japan by Chris Broad. Let's talk about something very, very, very different from the previous. Those are the memoir, I call them a memoir of the guy, of a YouTuber. He's a YouTuber who moved to Japan using some kind of exchange program, or not exactly exchange, but there's a program for graduates of English majors who can go to Japan to teach English in schools. So he went there being very young guy, I don't know, somewhere like 22 years old, or there he started his YouTube channel afterwards, and he's been living there more than 10 years now. She's very cool. And I didn't know this guy before picking up this book. I've just read the blurb here, and it was interesting to me. So this is, he concentrates mostly on the early years, like first 1-2 years, when he was still teaching rather than doing YouTube full-time. And basically this is a collection of stories. No, this is a coherent book, but mostly he tells different stories about him discovering the culture, traditions, customs, about different awkward situations he was into. And how he learned the language, how he made friends and all of that. And it's all written so light, so funny, with such a humor. I just really like the book and can't stop recommending it. The Golden Raven by Nora Sacavic. I love. This is a book from the second trilogy in Half of the Game series. Don't know how to put it correctly. This is a continuation of Chan's heartbreaking journey on the way to just simply live his life and maybe in search for a little bit of happiness. But I don't know what else to say here, because for the people who haven't read this book, won't mean much. This is the 5th book in series, after all. Guys, go ahead and just read the Foxhole Court first. Quick. I'm watching you. And for those who have read the previous books, you are gonna read this book too. You are gonna read this book. I'm watching you too. So don't wait. It's not a number 1 in my list. Mostly because I think that the first trilogy resonated with me a little bit more, and the third book, The Kingsman, holds the top spot in my heart forever. But this is a wonderful addition to this world too. This is actually 3rd place. Well done book. The 2nd place, The House at the Cerulean Sea by T.G. Klune. Wonderful book about warmth, understanding and support. A tired, somewhat boring even man was sent to inspect an orphanage for very unusual children, and they are unusual, I would say. And he finds something bigger instead. Things like love, warmth, understanding, and even family. I fell in love with this book immediately, and I can't stop recommending it, especially if you are in a dark period in your life. This book won't upset you, and even if it upsets you for a moment, it will immediately give you a huge glowing hope instead. So yeah, the 2nd place is this book. Okay, my number 1 book this year so far is Babel by R.F. Kuang. I read this book quite recently, and I also have a video where I said a bunch of stuff about this book. really a lot of stuff about the book, about my thoughts about the book, so I will try to be quite brief here. The story takes place in an alternate version of Oxford, somewhere in the 1830s, 1840s. It's alternate because there is a magic exists in this world, and this magic works in a very particular, clever way. It's based on the translations between different languages. Our main character is a boy who was taken from China when he was quite young, and he was trained extensively so he could enter Oxford and study languages, and that's what he does for the most of the book. Actually, the novel tackles many issues, but its main critique is directed at colonialism, misogyny, and intellectual elitism, and there are so many layers to that. For example, I really like this, that she added that in the book. There's a character who is oppressed in one way, but also is oppressor to others in another way. And even for this character, it is hard to understand, to put themselves in the position of others. And it shows how messy our world really is. And sometimes it's very sad. It's an absorbing and thoughtful book. And the last 200 pages are absolutely heartbreaking. I just highly recommend the book to everyone. Yes. Well, that's all. That's all. My half of year reading is done. There was a lot of good books. There was a lot of average, and just a bit of bad ones, which is very cool. And I hope the next half of the year will be even better. In the meantime, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and I will see you in another video. Bye!